Welcome to the Wise Words of Motivation channel. Under the title, Make Everyone Appreciate You by Mastering These 10 Silent Stoic Acts. Imagine having the mental strength that makes you steadfast in front of everything that happens around you, being able to control your emotions and make the right decisions in every situation. How would you feel if you could remain calm and steady in the most tense moments while everyone around you is distracted? Welcome to you again in this video where we will review 10 silent actions that can make everyone appreciate and respect you without even needing to say a single word. These actions derive their strength from the ancient Stoic philosophy that focused on self-control, controlling emotions and thinking deeply before making decisions. We live in a time of chaos. So in this video we will learn how to live according to the rules of calm inner strength, and we will start mastering the silent act number 1. But before we start, if you are looking for content that enhances your mental strength and makes you more solid in facing life's challenges, support this video with admiration because I made a great effort in preparing it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here so that you don't miss any of these ideas that can change your life. Share your thoughts with us and your comments below. I'm excited to hear your opinions about Stoicism and how to apply it in your daily life. Now let's start the journey mastering nonverbal communication. Seneca said, "Our actions are not only a reflection of who we are, but a reflection of what we choose to be." When you stand in a room full of people, do you ask yourself how others see you? We live in an era full of words. Words are spoken, words are written, read, but what if they confidently appear in the crowd without uttering a single letter? Every gesture, every look, a movement that carries with it an undeniable message. Stoicism taught us that words may be weak in front of our actions. A person may lie in conversation, but his body rarely betrays him. Let me give you an example. When a person enters the room without speaking, you may feel the effect of his presence, the way he stands upright in his shoulders, steadiness in his steps. This means that it is the messages that we send with our bodies that form the first and last impression of the person who. Mastering body language has the ability to convey stronger messages than words. Looking directly into the eyes of others, maintaining a balanced posture and not fidgeting, all this creates an aura of trust and respect. Let's go deeper. How to convey confidence. Simply be aware of your body. Stand up straight and keep your shoulders level and avoid head trauma. Do not rush into your movements. Every move, it is these silent seconds that carry more power than any quick response that make it seem as if you are weighing your words wisely. To take another example, imagine that you are in a business meeting. These simple movements will convey the message that you are present and focused. This is what makes great leaders leave a lasting impression, not only of what they say, but of what they show. And in this silence, which a conscious person is proficient in, lies a force that no one can ignore. Is you starting to see the picture clearly? Mastering nonverbal communication is not just a skill from strength and respect. And from here others begin to appreciate you, not because you spoke louder, but because you showed them who you are without. Marcus Aurelius said, "The only thing that comes back to you is your ability to judge." Valentine. Others judge your value based on superficial manifestations, whether it's your job, your clothes, or even the way you speak. But these external judgments are only reflections of the norms of society, not a real reflection of you. Here lies the power of the Stoic. It teaches us that our value is not measured from the amount of money in your bank account, is related to the way you see yourself in moments of calm, away from external noise. How do you know your value? It starts with internal independence. To realize that the opinions of others are only passing voices that should not affect your firm position. Strength is not in their satisfaction, but in your own satisfaction with yourself. Do you make decisions based on what you think is right or based on what you think will please others? Stoic does not seek to please anyone, instead of exhausting himself by watching everyone go his way with calm confidence, because he knows something fundamental. His value is not given to him from the outside, but comes from within himself. This is the difference between who knows his value and who is looking for it outside himself. The question that you should ask yourself now is, where does your value come from? Is it fixed or depends on the opinions of others? Is your value based on what cannot be controlled or on something internal that no one can take away from you? At the moment when you realize that your value is not negotiable, that you are sufficient, as you are free from the constraints of the outside world, and this liberation is what makes you an irresistible person. Carry yourself proudly. There is something that attracts us when we see someone who carries himself with pride and confidence, whose presence commands respect. Without speaking, without explaining who he is or what he simply wants to be, it's enough that this is not arrogance, but it is an internal recognition of his self-worth that is a reflection of his deep relationship with himself. what is the secret of this power that seems silent but moves hearts and minds when we say carry yourself with pride? We do not mean this value comes from your integrity, from your consistency with your principles, from your ability to control your feelings and reactions. Imagine yourself walking down a busy street surrounded by chaos. Everyone is walking fast, hurrying, talking loudly, but you remain calm. Your steps are firm and steady. Do not get behind that chaos and are not affected by distractions. You are present at the moment, carrying yourself with inner pride. Nothing shakes it. It comes from within. This pride is not just a psychological state, but also a magnetic force that attracts others towards you. When you see a person walking confidently, holding himself steadily, you naturally feel that he has something different. This person does not need to attract attention others, but he makes them the ones who pay attention to him without seeking it. The way he carries himself reflects his respect. The secret lies in controlling your feelings and thoughts is what gives you that aura that attracts others. Do not make your emotions control you or push you to hasty actions. Real pride comes when you know that you have control over yourself and that you choose how to respond to each situation and not be led by those feelings. This internal control is reflected in the way you move. Remember, the outside world cannot touch or change this inner power of people. It is not resistance, but it is a silent response based on the real knowledge that you are the one who controls your view of yourself. When you start to carry yourself with real pride, you will see how this reflects on other people's dealings with you. You will become a source of inspiration and you will realize that it is this silent force that surrounds you that will rejection is feared, yet accepting everything, striving to please everyone and hesitating to say no can lead us to giving up on ourselves. The Stoic knows that his real strength comes from controlling his time, his energy and his limits. Saying no is a form of control. Imagine the moment you find yourself surrounded by other people's requests, bearing burdens that do not belong to you. You feel the pressure, you feel that your time is slipping out of your hands, but you are afraid of rejection. Here comes the power of the Stoic in its silent game. Saying no can be recovered firmly and calmly is a hidden message that says I'm running my life and you can't. That a person who knows when to say no is a person who respects not only because he has the ability to make strong decisions, but because others will realize that his time is precious and he values himself. But the true power of God lies not only in rejection, it lies in the way it is said. You do not need to raise your voice or apologize excessively. Saying no simply, firmly and confidently without the need to make excuses or justifications is the embodiment of inner silence that speaks louder than any another thing. And here's where art lies. Art is to say no without closing the doors, to say it in a way that builds respect for yourself and others and shows that you set firm boundaries, but without condescending, because the truth is that the most respected and influential people are those. On the contrary, you will find that you are in control of your life and your time and in your energy, and this will undoubtedly give you the respect that you deserve. A Stoic does not raise slogans, but he knows how to preserve his energy and chooses where to invest his time. No is a constructive moment, a controlling moment, a moment that enhances your personal. You should say no. Actions speak louder than words. Have you ever seen someone speak about something with confidence? Plus, when you observe his actions, you discover that he does not apply any of what he says. These people talk non-stop, but their words lose their effect with time. Stoics understand that the real power lies not in what you say, but in what you do. Everyone can speak, but it's the actions that create the impression, which leaves an indelible mark. Imagine yourself in a room full of noise. Everyone, they stop talking, look at him and feel confident. Not because he said something great, but because he did something worthy of attention. What you do determines who you are, not what you say. The human mind tends to notice actions more than words. What you say can be forgotten quickly, but what you do sticks in the mind. Silent actions carry a stronger message than any long speech that shows who you really are and what it is. The actions that shape the personality and leave its mark. The Stoic does not overdo the talking. If the answer is yes, then you don't need to explain anything. Simply let your actions speak. If you are looking for true respect, if you want others to appreciate you without seeking their satisfaction with words, let your actions be the guide. Let people see what you are doing and they will realize your strength without uttering a single word. Knowing when learning to withdraw is often one of the actions of heroes. That the silent act of knowing when to withdraw is one of the greatest actions. Inner strength in a world full of bustle, where stubborn adherence to opinions and attitudes is a sign of strength, we find that few realize the deep wisdom that lies in staying away. Does not mean staying away weakness or defeat. But in fact it is a hidden tool used by the strong souls to redirect their energy away from conflicts that drain their souls. Imagine that in the middle of a long argument filled with anger and insults, at that moment, you can continue to defend yourself, feel an urgent desire to win, but the real hallway knows that it doesn't come from a struggle of words or winning superficial confrontations. Victory comes from maintaining the purity of the Stoic spirit. Does not enter into battles that do not add anything to his inner growth. Moving away is not a withdrawal from the situation, but a withdrawal from the emotional noise that harms oneself. This silent act shows a force that refuses to be drawn behind anger or tension. It is a thoughtful decision, and it requires great courage to stand up and say. The viewer will feel at that moment that he is in a confrontation with himself, and will see how. The viewer, after contemplating this idea, will begin to see his life from a deeper perspective. He will see that the real strength is not in entering the battle, but in the ability to leave when there is no benefit to be gained. This is the wisdom of Stoicism, choosing peace of mind over false victory, setting boundaries without words. If you have no boundaries, you will always. There is a moment in every person's life when he realizes that the real strength lies not in his loud voice or in his ability to control others, but in his ability to protect himself and preserve his boundaries without saying a single word. Boundaries are those invisible lines that determine the extent of our willingness to present ourselves to others, but it is not something expressed in words, but in silent actions and constant actions that make others clearly aware of your boundaries without having to explain them. Imagine yourself walking in a forest. There are clear paths and specific landmarks that know where you can walk and where you can't go. Those landmarks are not written signs, but also, your personal boundaries don't need to be made public, but they are tangible to see and feel from. Your actions when you meet a new person or interact with someone. Do you always need to say don't do this or don't cross these lines? Of course not. Through your way of dealing, the way you sit, your gaze, and maybe even your silence, the other person can understand when to stop and when not to encroach on your space. The boundaries that are set without words are more. This is the difference between someone who is trying to prove himself by. When you master this ability, you will find that others' respect for you will increase, not because you imposed it on them, but because you allowed them to feel it. Here is the key to power: to be confident enough to allow your actions to speak about you instead of your words. The moment you stop needing to clarify your boundaries verbally, you will find that people will automatically. How can you achieve this? Don't talk too much. If you feel uncomfortable about a certain situation, don't. This simple behavior will give signals, and without you having to enter into an argument. The more you practice these silent actions, the greater your influence and the greater your ability to control your life and your surroundings. The real message that you want to convey is this: I own myself, and you will not be able to cross these boundaries. This world is full of chaos, and for the power that doesn't need words, doesn't chase anyone. Think about this: how many times have I seen someone running after something or someone who does not appreciate his existence? How many times have you watched that pursuit turn into a source of anxiety? And now stop for a moment and ask yourself why we chase people or things that do not show us any appreciation. The real hallway is not chasing. The real power lies in the ability to silently let go, in the knowledge that your value is not determined by chasing someone, but he knows that the value is not in obtaining the approval of others, but in steadfastness of principles and steadfastness in the face of temptations. The more you stop chasing someone, the more you start to regain your true control, because then you choose not to be in need of the satisfaction of anyone other than yourself. Think about the stationary tree that does not chase storms and does not bend in front of the wind that blows around it. It stands stable because it knows that its strength comes from its deep roots, and no matter what you do, the power lies in refusing to run, in sticking to your mark, in showing that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Heracles said change is the law of life, and whoever resists it condemns himself to defeat. At the heart of every mess we live lies change is the only thing. There is no escape. How many times have you felt that life is slipping from under your feet? Maybe you lost a job or ended a relationship or faced an unexpected situation turning your life upside down. Here in those he resists, struggles, tries with all his might to restore things as they were. But the Stoic does not do that. The Stoic knows that resistance to change is a losing battle. Think about it: everything around us is constantly changing. Nature, seasons, our relationships, even the thoughts of a person who rejects this fact will live in a constant state of anxiety and turmoil. But the one who accepts change, this is the one who finds comfort in chaos, is the one who deals with every new turn in stop and adapt to every turn on his way. This does not mean losing your identity or becoming a person who adapts. The key here is agility. Agility means that you do not deal with change as an enemy, but as a companion. Deal with change intelligently, consciously and calmly. Instead of resisting it, learn to dance with it. As Marcus Aurelius said, when you face difficulties, don't ask why this happens to me, but tell how I can deal with this in ways that serve me. The ability to accept change makes you an unbeatable person. You don't break, but bend like bamboo in high winds. That flexibility is what makes you really strong, because it doesn't come from stubbornness or from holding on. In the end, the one who accepts change with a rush is the one who can build his true strength, that strength that makes the whole world stand up in respect of him, not because he did not fall, but because whenever he fell he got up stronger than he was before. The development of healthy skepticism. Zenon the Stoic said, "Not everything appears as it seems." Have you ever trusted a person or a situation only to discover later that you were deceived? How many times circumstances made you think that you have found the truth, but when looking from a different angle everything has changed? Here comes the role of healthy skepticism. Doubt is not always a negative trait. Truth is the key to wisdom. The Stoic philosopher does not accept things as they are and is not fooled by appearances. He understands that the world is full of illusion and deception, and that making decisions based on superficiality may lead him to the error. Stoic hesitates to stop thinking and inquiring before jumping to conclusions. Doubt here is not an expression of weakness or anxiety, but unhealthy that hinders him from moving. He doubts when it is required. He doubts, but he also knows when to move with confidence. This balancing is the art of the Stoic, watching the world through clean lenses, free of prejudices, and always trying to examine more deeply. Healthy skepticism helps him to see what others may not see. It is the weapon that allows him to distinguish between what is real and what is just an illusion. How can this ability? By practicing healthy skepticism, you stop to think, is this option really the best, or is there another aspect that I do not see? This short pause may be the difference between a wise decision and another that you may regret later. The deep viewer who understands this idea will not leave anything to chance. He will see the world as it is and not as others want to see it. And this is the essence of Stoicism: clarity of vision and the ability to make decisions based on facts and not on fleeting impressions or emotions. In the end, the person who masters these silent actions is a person who carries power inside him, is a person who does not need the approval of others or their praise to know his worth. Be this person. Be the one who remains steadfast in the face of storms, silent in his power, indestructible in front of chaos. Thank you for your precious time and also for listening well. See you in the next video.